using AI effectively and ethically in your job search. Presented by Career Experts Group, this series is designed to help professionals use AI as a strategic tool for career growth, personal branding, networking, and opportunity exploration without losing authenticity or professional credibility. In today's session, we explore the strengths of today's leading AI tools and learn how using multiple platforms together can help you gain broader insight, stronger research, and more strategic job search support. Hi, I'm Laura Johnson.
Hi, I'm Denise Bittler.
So this is really interesting as well. I mean, I know, well, you're our expert to begin with. So, and as I've listened to you talk, I realized that I haven't shared that with our listeners. You are an expert. So,
Thank you.
there are so many tools out there, and it's become overwhelming. Which ones should job seekers actually be looking at using?
So, first off, I will admit I am an AI geek. I am also a shiny object person. So, so I am I use probably at least 8 or 9 tools consistently. But the the answer isn't necessarily which tool, it's how many tools. What are the right tools for the right task? Um, I a lot of times, especially if I'm writing, I will run the same prompt through multiple platforms because I'm getting different tone, getting different um, nuances, maybe a different little bit of research, things like that. Every AI tool, it's trained a little bit differently. They're getting closer because a lot of them are training on some of the same information, but they do train a little differently. They prioritize different sources. They structure responses in their own way. So if you're only using one, you're getting one interpretation. So one of the most effective things, again, you can do is run the same prompt or task across multiple platforms. For example, you might analyze a job description in ChatGPT and then run the same prompt in Claude. Maybe use Perplexity for a research-backed version. You'll start to see patterns, but you'll also notice differences in what each tool emphasizes. Most people, especially if they use more than one, they have favorites for different things. Um, you know, there you have to decide what's right for you. The biggest takeaway is don't just rely on one. Um, Run things through different AI platforms to get different perspectives, different contexts, things like that. Now, I want to address some things. There's AI tools built directly into platforms like LinkedIn and Indeed. A lot of job seekers assume that because they're built in, they should be the best option. Unfortunately, that's not true. Yes, LinkedIn and Indeed, they have access to job postings, candidate data. So on the surface, it does seem like it should be incredibly powerful. But in practice, they tend to be fairly limited. One of the biggest reasons is context. These tools don't really understand the depth of your experience. They're primarily working off of keywords in your profile or your resume, not the story behind your work. So some of the suggestions they might generate, they sound polished, but they don't actually reflect your unique experience. Gets back to what we've been talking about all along is that, AI is going to take the generic stuff you put in and give you generic stuff back.
Yep.
And same thing with the embedded tools. Other issue is scale. These tools, the ones on LinkedIn and Indeed, and while they're great, they do have some value. They're being used by thousands, sometimes millions of job seekers. That means a lot of people are getting very similar suggestions. How do you differentiate yourself? You're not going to be able to stand out if you're using embedded AI in like LinkedIn and Indeed to create your content, your resume content, things like that, because things are going to start to sound identical. Okay. They're not designed for deeper penetration. They focus more on how you apply to jobs, not helping you understand companies, prepare for interviews, develop stronger networking strategies. So that's where standalone tools really give the advantage. So just my recommendation on what tools to consider as a job seeker so that you don't go down shiny object path like I do is focus on ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and NotebookLM. They
Okay.
can help you with more context, write more detailed prompts, get output that's actually tailored to you. So, in terms of tools, ChatGPT, Claude, strong for writing and refining content. Perplexity is my favorite for the research side.
Yeah.
Gemini, it's phenomenal for anything closely related to Google searches, or if you have uh, Google Workspace and things like that, it can be great. NotebookLM, you're picking your own sources and you're uploading the sources, so your output is based solely on those uh, sources that you deemed relevant or important. Copilot works if you're already in a Microsoft ecosystem. In the personal version, there's a lot of things that you can't do. You really have to have the enterprise version to do some of them. So the bottom line takeaway, there's no one tool, best tool. It's using them. How do you use them together? Which ones do you use for which service or thing that you're trying to do? Don't feel like you have to pay for them. Always start out with the free versions of each, because in most of them, what you can do in the free version and the paid version is similar. The difference usually comes down to quantity, how many prompts you can run, how many deep research things you can do, whatever. So if there's one tool that you're really using heavily, and you need to be able to maybe have deeper research capabilities or visuals or whatever it is, then maybe you consider paying for it to upgrade. But try the free version first, so you figure out which platform works best for you, and then you keep the other ones free and you pay for one or the other. Don't treat it like a single source of truth. You want multiple tools, compare outputs, use your judgment. One of the other things, and this kind of doesn't really have to do with the platforms, but always ask it to give you multiple responses. So if you're saying, okay, help me write my LinkedIn headline. So it's give me 5 sample LinkedIn headlines. If you only do one, it gets everything else it's building for the rest of the prompt is based off of just the one. If you ask it to give you multiple, you can say, oh, I like this part of this one and this part of this and this part of this, and now you're creating your own. So asking it to do multiple is a great takeaway for good output.
That's excellent. Yeah. And I love the idea that you suggest using checking in more than one tool so that you're not taking ChatGPT's word for it alone. I think
Yes.
that's great advice to take away. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Using AI Effectively and Ethically in Your Job Search. Career Experts Group is dedicated to helping professionals navigate career growth, leadership, and transition with clarity, strategy, and confidence. Explore additional resources, videos, and editions of our Your Career, Your Future newsletter at careerexpertsgroup.com.